Hello everyone, I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. This is Steve coming back with another video for Commodore 64 stuff. I've been trying to figure out all day and actually yesterday what to come up with outside of the other stuff I've been working on and trying to leap forward closer to the project that's to come. So I've been doing a lot of, you've seen reverse engineering and looking at a lot of different games, some I found downloaded on the internet, trying to find ways of learning different things when it comes to a semi-language and just learning more things about, reverse engineering in whatever way I can. And I also decided to take one of my older projects, my older programs that I had written called Game Master's Toolkit, and I actually spent about, I don't know, a couple hours typing it in and getting it to work, and finally got it running and working just now. So I'm going to show that to you. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so this is it right here. It's Game Master's Toolkit, and you may have seen this demonstrated on my channel quite a while ago, but this is it running inside of Vice. And I'm using, for those who want to know, I'm using Vice C64DTV emulator because my other Vice doesn't seem to recognize my Xbox controller for some reason. Give me a second. So this is what it actually looks like if it runs inside of the original C64 emulator for Vice. Has a lot more redefined coloring in its background in that. But like I said, it doesn't work with the joystick. You go here to the joystick, and the Xbox controller only seems to work with the joystick. So if anybody knows about that, go ahead and send me a message. Or if I need to download a different version, I don't know how many more versions I need. But anyways, let's get this started. So there's 4 options here. You can see character, font maker, and whatnot. So if we click on the first one here, what this does is it recreates characters, and it shows you the data for those characters. These are the actual bits here, of course. And then you can see everything translated down here. So if we had to do this on graph paper, we would take 16 plus 8 equals 24. And if you go in here, you can also edit this, but I think there's still a problem with that. But let me see if I can get it to work. I press E, it moves it up there. And I was hearing was activating, for some reason it's activating inside of one of my other windows. Seems like the DTV emulator, if you run it inside of one, it messes with the other one. So I was moving the controller and it was actually controlling a game character in another screen here, which I'll show you that here in just a moment. But anyways, you can see I can move around in here using the joystick. And if I go in here and if I wanted to recreate it or something or add something to it, I could go in here and press my fire button there. And then press it again, and you'll see the numbers changing over here. So it's keeping track of the new data that's being put into that field. So I could remodify this A if I wanted to, just by filling it in. So if we had a character set or whatever, we could actually, add this to the data statements. I noticed my C just disappeared here. Okay, the other thing here is, let's see if I can get back to the menu here. Trying to remember how I did this. Let me see. So I set it so the M key should take us back. Yeah, there it is. And you can see me scrolling through the characters there. So I can actually sit there and reproduce another character on the screen just by pressing my fire button once again. Let's just say I wanted to see, let's do the end sign. Now this was originally going to be a Lodestar subscription, but I ran out of time when trying to create it, and Lodestar kind of moved on, or I kind of moved on, or whatever happened then. So anyways, on this one, if you press T, it'll take you back to the main menu. And then if I go into the next thing, if I hit 2, it takes me to the character design screen. Now this thing is not working right still, but I'll show you anyways. If you scroll through a character, you can actually start using that character. For some reason though, it's still drawing a bunch of characters on the screen. Like when I go over here, this is a sprite background, by the way, that I'm moving on the screen here. So as soon as I press my fire button, you see it's kind of like not lined up or something. That's strange. It was actually working earlier though. Anyway, something to do with the positioning, which is why I really, really hope to get, you know, a device to get my data right off my Commodore 64 so I can upload them to like an SD card or whatever and get them on the desktop. So I don't have to sit there and type them in and hope I've done it correctly. So what it's supposed to do is if you press this and move this when it's red here, it's supposed to erase the characters. But apparently it's not working right. But if I go back to M anyway, the main menu, there's a sprite editor in here too. I don't have anything on this computer I could load since I didn't create a sprite yet, but you can go in here and you could draw just like the other stuff, and you could draw sprites here. I think if you press the number keys, it changes the color. Let's see if that's it. Been so long since I used this one. Maybe it's C. Oh, didn't like that. So apparently I've got some kind of error in it that I need to work on. I guess it's time to take a look at the code anyway. Let's see why it gave me an error message. Probably, there's the culprit. I don't have a 9100, so I need to add that line in. But here's the listing for it. Let me turn off our sprite. We just start reading into data. We have a machine language routine for the character set. This is drawing the graphics on the screen. Right here you see this was the scrolling list that I was scrolling through, the B strings. So if I just print B strings, you'll see it right there. And essentially we're just poking in some more data statements here. I think that's drawing something on the screen there. Now, hopefully, just not to go through this whole program, but to show you some of the things I've been coming across here. I'd like to be able to spend this whole time going through this program, but that's not the whole purpose of this journey. So the real purpose of this journey is to actually start finding some code that we could use later in the machine language project. And like I said, reverse engineering is the path to all of that. I've been trying to take apart bigger games like the Metal Warrior and that, but that's going to take a lot more time. So I've been looking for smaller routines, and I came across this one on the Ahoy magazine, and these are the files I downloaded right there. So it's supposed to be like a Santa Claus, and this is the noise you heard earlier as I was moving this one. It might have crashed. Oh, I put it on pause because it was making so much noise. So you see it's actually a scroller. I think it's a fine scroller. That's not bad. I mean, if I could get this implemented in the project, I'd be pretty happy. And then all we have to do is just change the data and then basically turn it into something else. So if he hits the walls there, it doesn't have any collision with the walls. I mean, it doesn't really have like any where you can pass through the walls, but in essence, it's still a scroller. This one is entirely in machine language, by the way. I think they could have easily animated the Santa, but you know, we could always take care of that later. But that's all it does, it just picks up these things through this giant. But watch how deep this level is. It goes down pretty far. I don't know if I can get back down there or not. I'm gonna die in here. Whoops. Oh, time ran out. But that's one of the things I've discovered, and the code is set at C000. So if we go here to the monitor, and we hit the assembly window, and we move up here a little bit, this is where the code starts at. It really starts at C008. And this is all the scroll routine for that little game demo, whatever you just saw there with the Santas. It's called Santa's Busy Day. So you probably won't be able to see this because it's not a very, it'd be nice if you could, you know, change the size of the monitor where you could zoom in on the text or something. But anyways, this is the code for the actual game there, and right there is where it ends right there. So I think everything else is like the screen drawing and stuff like that, in memory and stuff like that. But nevertheless, not bad. Something to look at. Now here's another one I came across on Ahoy magazine. It's called The Haunted Castle. Although this one doesn't have scrolling, it does have something I'm interested in. If we make the program starting in BASIC, it actually has, oops, I have that thing running again. Okay, so it actually has, you know, pretty cool animation on the game character, and it's pretty fast movement, and this is actually written in BASIC. And you pass through these, and this ghost basically pursues you. This is all done in assembly language for the movement of the guy and the ghost and stuff like that. Haven't really, you know, reverse engineered this one. I just thought I would show you this one. Essentially, really, it's supposed to be like an upstairs, but they made this so complicated it's hard to even find the upstairs sometimes without dying. And you die really quickly in it, so. So if we go ahead and have a look at the code here, you can see it uses a lot of string manipulation. I think there's some things we could find interesting in this. It uses a lot of function calls. And remember, those function calls are there to help speed up the routines and the algorithms written into the programs themselves. This is actually the data for the actual game, the screens and stuff like that. And this is the machine language data for the interrupts, which is moving the players and the enemies and stuff like that. And this is the next one I came across on Ahoy magazine, called Gators and Snakes. Although this one needs some serious improvement, but it also has something I'm interested in, which is fine scrolling. But it also seems to scroll too far into memory because it's running right into screens right here. Or this is sections of memory. So that could use some improvement too, but the scrolling is pretty nice. It'd be actually a pretty good game if it didn't blank out like that. I think what they're doing is they're scrolling too far to the bottom and they're messing it up. I just turned off the screen there. So I think if they left it like that, it probably wouldn't be bad. So the system call is done in the, I think it's 49.152. Yep. We can take a look at this one. And the machine language data in this one is not too actually bad. Trying to see where it starts at 49.152, of course. So we can go in here and we can take a look at this one just the same. And go to its start location, C000 49.152. That went too far. Right here. So here's actually where it starts. It's actually a pretty short routine for a screen scroll, I think. So I'm going to take a look at that one. Probably better chances of quickly or figuring this one out and reverse engineering this one. So that'll be interesting. Essentially, those are all the ones that I really had for this video. So the whole purpose of this, like I said, is to start going through a lot of these different games and these different things I'm coming across these programs and trying to find elements that we can implement into the project later. So I'd like to be able to get some fine scrolling going on, but I'm no expert on it. But, you know, I was thinking about something simple like a level, like maybe similar to just like the cop games where you're just running down like a city street or whatever and you're fighting off gang members and stuff like that. and you're trying to, you know, stop a ring from forming or something like that, or just things like that would be interesting. But anyways, those are just some thoughts. So let me know what your thoughts are, what you think of that, and you know, just the programs we're coming across and everything. I think that one just locked up on me. So here's the rest of the code for the Game Master's Toolkit. In case you guys are curious, I didn't show you everything in it. Here's where that memory character is printing on the screen, and here's how I'm determining that. It's just an algorithm I found in a book, and it just peeks into the memory location where the character is, and it reads through 7 characters, since there's, you know, 0 to 7 is the how wide the characters are, and this sets 2 to the power of j to figure out exactly which character position to plot on the map, and then it saves it into an array here. So I can't remember exactly what this does, but essentially that's some of the stuff I do remember about it. Keep in mind this was written like in 1995, so I really haven't spent a lot of time going over it. Like I said, I'm not here to reverse engineer this program, but I'm here to build upon things. And speaking of which, so I was going to end this video, I guess, just going back to the original example here and showing you some new redefined characters I created. This one, and you can change the colors of it. I also created this one. I have no idea what that is, but so the goal is to start creating, you know, a bunch of different redefined characters, and this one could be like a grass or whatever, until we have something that looks pretty decent. I know I've been screwing around in this video a lot, but I just really wanted to show you I'm on the path to doing this stuff. So what I'm going to be doing, you know, in between studying this and learning this is basically create some of these screens and basically try to put those together and show you what I can come up with, you know. Creating, you know, using the redefined characters and coming up and creating your own kind of screens and stuff like that. This almost looks like a fence, but anyways, understanding, you know, how the characters line up in that is essential to multicolors and, you know, getting them to look right on the screen and stuff like that. So I'm going to be doing more studying like that, and like I said, you know, the screen savers that I created, showing you how to save the data on the screen. That'll come in handy once I create a character set that I can use on the screen, and just stuff like that. Actually, this probably wouldn't even be bad for a background, it almost looks like. But anyways, yeah, we'll just keep moving along and chugging along here and just kind of seeing where we go and playing by ear as we move along. So I know this video was kind of long and kind of went in one direction and the other direction, but the whole idea here is to continue to take apart these programs, reverse engineer them, and start putting together something that looks like similar to some kind of a project, or just something that we can use in, you know, the upcoming project. And just looking forward to hearing your guys' feedback and everything. Been just mostly watching YouTube today. I haven't really been doing a whole lot, just working on those stuff, and I really need to start, you know, just getting ready for all this stuff, because trying to still recruit some people. One of the guys I actually asked recently asked me how much I was going to pay him. I was like, well, this is all a non-profit, so I never heard back. So anyways, some people are in it for different reasons, but he was a professional. He was a professional demo, so I could understand why he wanted, you know, a take in it. Anyways, guys, I hope you like this channel and like this video. Please like, favorite, subscribe. As always, I'll get some more videos out there soon. Some more organized stuff, of course. And this one was just kind of just throwing out a video for the day, I guess, and just showing you where I'm trying to move this toward. So thanks, guys, for watching. Appreciate you guys so much.